Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, it is 8:30 or thereabouts on a Wednesday night. Bring your beverages, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, bring them all. It's time for the Outsiders, presented by Poncho Outdoors. I have got the Billy Bob. It's ready to go. It's washed and ready for another graduation. Bo's rocking a poncho tonight. I think my man Jason Dick's got a poncho on tonight. I'm wearing a comfy poncho shirt tonight, and there are new fishing shirts out there, kids.
Oh.
The Super Chugger. How do you not want to own the Super Chugger? Or if not, maybe the Magic Ruckus is more of your speed. The short and long sleeve versions of the new fishing shirts. And they're not the only new ones. There's new stuff all the time at Poncho. Hit ponchooutdoors.com and make sure you mention the Outsiders. Those are lovely. All right, let's introduce the Outsiders. We're going to talk about some rule changes and not changes in the NFL. And we're going to talk frustrating losses in the Mach 5 Top 5. But first, Mach 5 himself will start us out. Looks like a hard life up there for the Mach 5 in the upper left. Chance, what are we drinking tonight?
Well, we're going back to the old basics of, as it is a hard knock life. And I don't know how I feel about the news about HBO and Hard Knocks going to be in Buffalo. Not only do we have Hallmark doing a Hallmark movie in Buffalo, a Bills love story, now we have Hard Knocks. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Big distraction, Chance.
It's a lot of distractions, but so I'm going with the Buffalo Trace and Water tonight just to stick with my Bills love. So cheers,
all right.
guys.
Well, gentlemen,
by the way, I'm wearing. I just want to say I'm wearing this poncho. It's called the Busted Prop. If any of y'all are looking for a nice shirt that you can wear, like the color on this Busted Prop, it's like I don't know how to. It's like a blue gray. It is the nicest shirt of the ponchos that I've had as far as the color wise.
It's beautiful.
Busted Prop. If you're looking for one, get it.
The Busted Prop. Gentlemen, tonight I am paying homage to the great Norm from Cheers. A little beer tonight for Norm.
Norm.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, and we're just wearing Milk-Bone underwear. Rest in peace to the great George Wendt. Go have yourself a little mug for Norm tonight.
Hey, I did see, Chad, speaking of that, I did see probably what I thought was the best meme that I saw on George Wendt's passing. Mm-hmm. And it showed he was walking into the pearly gates, and then from the back, a huge crowd just said, Norm! I was like, how awesome would that be?
That's good stuff. Your lower right, as always, is Jason Dick, and he's always drinking weird stuff. Jason, what do you got?
How dare you? Yeah. First of all, I want to say hello to Chance's cat, meow, because apparently nobody else will. Is that what I'm hearing back there?
I think someone's hurting Chance's
know
cat.
The drill at this point.
Meow.
Go turn on the shower, Chance.
Oh, that's fine. Guys, on Sunday, it's my first pool party of the season. Am I the only unemployed guy who has a pool? That's the way we get down. Thanks for RSVPing to the three of you, by the way. So I got 4 days left to get my summer body ready. So tonight we're drinking an Atkins creamy vanilla protein-rich shake.
There you go. Make sure to shake that up there, Jason.
Yeah. Also, hardly ever been the case. Creamy vanilla, also my rap name. I believe just 4 days of these and I should be ready to go, right?
Beautiful. Oh, definitely. Ready to roll. Jason Dick getting in prime shape. Your lower left tonight, as always, it's the Country Gorilla. A bit of a romantic lighting tonight, kind of the midway point between the last 2 weeks.
I'm working through the lighting, okay? We're getting better, okay? I can't test it until I'm on the show. So now the lighting will be adjusted again.
What are you drinking, Mr. Cinematographer?
Well, this is Eagle Rare and Coke Zero.
Nice. My buddy Rick would approve of the Eagle Rare choice.
By the way, thank you to Jason Dick for attending my party. It wasn't even my party. It was my wife's birthday party. Everyone was invited, but you showed up and ate crawfish and brought your cool buddy with you. Like, you want to talk about a guy outclassing his friend? Dick Man's buddy brought a case of Oklahoma Sucks beer to a game-watching party for Texas versus Oklahoma in baseball. Never met the dude in my life, but kudos to your friend.
Yeah.
He's a badass.
Shout out to my friend Travis, who I play softball and golf and all sorts of stuff with, who was very excited to go to a crawfish boil. I also was excited and definitely was not going over there just because I had poncho gear to pick up and we played golf up toward Bo's house that day. Definitely not the case.
It was like the Jason Dick tour of free. You went and played Freestar Ranch. You got some poncho. You ate crawfish at my house.
That's the plan that we need to be on, okay? I need a scholarship.
Hey, if your boy Travis wants to bring a case of beer every time you do that plan, we can keep recreating it.
All right, we've laid out what we are drinking. If you want to be drinking tequila, but you're all out, Specs has a sale going on till the end of the month. Pay attention.
It's tequila time. Who's ready for a margarita? Shake things up all month long with discounts on Blancos, Reposados, and Añejo tequila during Specs Tequila Sale.
Okay, hold on. Did anybody else not think that Chance would have done that ad better for the El Ticolino in the background of the Specs?
Yeah, he would have done
Like,
an excellent job.
Hey,
But
apparently, I was such a bad endorsement that they dropped us.
I don't think that had anything to do with your endorsement, but maybe.
You might
maybe
have,
the pronunciation. Yeah,
maybe in the future we learn to pronounce. You know, I don't call it
sponsor's name.
I don't call it Stair Ranch, although that would be a fun hang as well. All right.
Hey, Jake Daniels, if you please.
Remember, if you send us a super chat, it'll go right to the top of the list. Thank you, Oscar. 1999 Mission Impossible. One last time tomorrow, with the possibility of Tom Cruise himself being at my IMAX screening here in San Antonio. Good luck on that, Oscar. Rewatch the entire series completed tonight. I got to say, fellas, this feels bigger than an Archibald Manning. Jason Dick is not going to agree with that.
I disagree twofold. All right. Not only is Arch Manning God's gift to God, but also Mission Impossible. Is Tom Cruise 70 yet? He's still jumping off the side of buildings and he's 70. I don't know.
He still does the running. He's still doing all these crazy stunts. He's unbelievable.
I have a serious question that only Jason probably knows, although you are very factually correct, Chad. Do you think his name on his birth certificate is Archibald? Or do you think it's Arch? Like, what do you think is on his driver's license? Because his driver's license said Arch. Remember when, or his student ID when they found it on campus. But what do you think his birth certificate says?
I mean,
I think it says Archibald.
No.
I'm going to say the birth certificate is old school.
Jason, if you're going to be the head of the fan club, I'm going to need you to know his driver's license number, his social security number.
Jesus.
Yeah. And because
the number, you damn.
Well, aren't I correct? It's his,
no, just find out if his name is Archibald.
It's his middle name, right? It's his middle name. That's
Wikipedia says, which has never been wrong, his name is Archibald Charles Manning.
See, okay, there you go. And it is his first name. That's my bad. Okay, for some reason I thought it was his middle name. Okay,
the only chance is the one that goes by a name that isn't his real first name.
That's not true. Cash does too. So does Chase, and so does Trevor.
Well, you need to start recognizing your first names.
I just got depressed and feel kind of creepy at the same time. Archibald Charles Manning, born April 27th, 2005. I mean, I guess I could have quickly done the math, but like I was out of college before he was born. Okay.
Yeah.
I should not be this into a guy who was born in the 2000s.
He was only born 3 years before my daughter on the exact same day.
Oh,
maybe we can get my daughter Merritt to travel on down Texas way and they can have birthday parties together and get married, and I can be a Manning.
I am not going to think about what I was doing when
Bo's like, my daughter doesn't have to take his name, but I will.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Jason would ask to be part of our family if it gave him the chance to take the name.
Absolutely.
Jason Dick Edge Manning. He's ready to roll.
All right, fellas, we're this deep in, and we have not mentioned the biggest news of the day. The Tush Push lives. The Tush Push exists in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers, of all teams, tried to get rid of it. They voted it down. They needed 24 votes. They got 22. It was 22-10. They voted to get rid of it, but that's not enough. So Tush Push is still in. Bo, you sound like you were in that group of 22.
What's your problem?
It's just stupid. There is not one other football play where they changed the rule a few years back and allow you to just push people, drag people. Hell, next thing you're going to know, they're going to tie a rope around the quarterback's waist and pull him across the freaking line. It's not a play. A QB sneak is a play. A handoff is a play. A running back coming like a missile from 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage and pushing the quarterback in the ass is stupid. And beyond that, it's terrible to watch. It is about as entertaining as a fart.
It is terrible to watch the Eagles gain yardage. I will agree with you.
Hilarious.
Farts are the funniest thing in the planet.
Yeah.
Not the silent ones that sneak up and ruin your day.
All right, let's.
Now you ruined it.
I'm trying to enjoy a nice mug of beer for Norm from Cheers. Could we not make fart analogies? Is there any way we can come up with better analogies on a Wednesday?
I think it's the perfect analogy for the outsider.
Chance, which old guy football fan are you? Are you that old guy football fan that says we gotta, we can't make it a play, or are you the old guy that says if you want to deal with it, stop them?
So here's the funny thing. I look at there's two teams. There's the Eagles who made it the tush push. There's the Bills who have done it very well. Here's an odd stat for you. The Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles have attempted the tush push in the last 2 years more than all other 30 teams combined, with an 87% success rate.
Wow. So those two more than everybody else.
Hold on. But this is what makes it interesting is that the Bills ended up on one side of it and the Eagles ended up on the other because the Bills actually voted to ban it. Now, for me, this is where I don't like it. I don't like it because I feel like it gives too much of an advantage to the offense. I think that the sport is made to be played in a way that it's man on man and let the better team win. I think when you take a stationary defense and you put a moving object with 3 other moving objects behind him, I think it defeats the purpose of the game. That's where I have a problem with it. I think it's more rugby than football.
Okay. And in my humble opinion, very few teams have quarterbacks that are built to do it, which that's the advantage that the Eagles have, and good for them for figuring out a way to utilize it. But what happens when defenses just say screw it and put in a scrub to take out the quarterback at his neck? Because that's going to be just like the Redskins did with the 7 jumps over the pile until the point where they had to threaten that they were just going to give the other team a touchdown if you quit going off sides. What do you think the next iteration is? It's going to be taking out knees and taking out heads because teams aren't just going to allow them to do it. They put up with it. They tried to get the rule done. Mark my words. This year, a quarterback is going to miss at least a week plus due to an injury sustained, doing an illegal hit, and it won't be by a star. It'll be by some guy off the practice squad that just got told to take out a guy's knee.
Well, here's the difference, Bo. Going back to my original, what I was talking about, the interesting thing, you got Nick Sirianni on one side, and I understand the owners are the ones that vote, okay? There's 2 different sides. You've got Jalen Hurts, who the Philadelphia Eagles could do just fine without Jalen Hurts. No offense to Jalen Hurts. I think he's a fine quarterback. They're okay without him. The Buffalo Bills, without Josh Allen, are not a good football team right now, okay? They're maybe a 500 team, okay? The Buffalo Bills have a defensive coach in Sean McDermott. The Philadelphia Eagles have an offensive coach in Nick Sirianni, okay? What did the Bills do? The Bills said no because they know that there's players going to start taking shots at quarterbacks as a defensive coach. They also know they can't afford to lose their quarterback. Mm-hmm. Now, you have to, you have to say, okay, as an offense, you don't have to call it. But at the end of the day, if it's a legal play and it works 87% of the time, 87, think about those numbers. If you told me on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 4th and goal, 3rd and goal, that 87% of the time I'm getting to the money, I'm doing it all the time. Why would you not?
And I realize that my perspective is flawed and skewed most of the time, as pointed out by the intelligent Jason Dick to my right here. But I'm talking about what it's like to watch this crap. Have you ever met one person that's not an Eagles fan that thinks it's a fun play to watch?
Allow me, if you will, Bo. All right, I will. I was ready to say already that my opinion might be colored by the fact that Jalen Hurts is my dynasty fantasy football quarterback. I think it's tremendous. Okay, just get to the 1 yard line. That's 6 extra fantasy points for me. But are you guys saying that it's because injury concerns that other teams don't do it? Because Chad, I feel like our Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, say what you will about him, got some good looking quads. All right, knees to nuts. That's a good looking man. All right, so I would say the Cowboys could be tush pushing all the time. I don't understand it. I think everybody, even the less athletics, you don't have to be able to, whatever it was, squat 6,000 pounds like Jalen Hurts to be able to do it.
Jason, see, you got to remember, you're missing the last part of the math. It's hard to do the tush push when it's 3rd and 8 all the time. That's the problem.
But here's the thing: if
you get to a manageable 4th down, Chad, you get it to 4th and 6.
Yeah, they can't even do that, Bo, because it's always 4th and 3 or 4th and 5 for them.
If Bo is correct in that only the Eagles or a finite amount of teams have a player who possesses the skills to pull this play off, then what are we even talking about here? You have proposed a rule change just to negate a player's skill? I propose that Lamar Jackson is not allowed to scramble, okay? That is an unfair play.
I mean, this is an added player, though, Jason. That's the thing.
It's not the quarterback sneak that I have an issue with, or that the owners that did vote against this have an issue with. It's the extra players coming from the back and pushing a guy. Run a play. You want to run a QB sneak and use your 600-pound squat and Jalen Hurts? Have him get his ass under center, and he goes. It's not like I said, the next iteration is going to be tying a rope around the guy's waist and having somebody pull him across the line. You don't, at any other play, in a football play, do guys get to push from behind?
Well,
no.
But also, let's not forget this, Bo, because you're hitting on the nail on the head. But when you do that, where does your head go? It goes down. And now you have a force behind you pushing you forward. I'm just telling you, it is a recipe for somebody getting hurt. It just is.
Yeah. And eventually, the other thing to remember, guys, we got to be a little bit patient here. It's going to happen. It'll be gone, because if they got 22-10 on the vote today, that vote's not swinging the other way. They will get it out. It'll be out in 2 to 3 seasons for sure.
Well, no, it'll be out next year.
But Bo, do you think the Eagles will change their opinion after what you heard today?
What, after what their owner described the play as?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all didn't hear that?
No, I didn't hear it until you mentioned it.
Adam Schefter reported it on ESPN.com that there was not a physical altercation, but there was a literal screaming match in the owners' meeting that was partially broken up by Jerry Jones. It was Lurie from the Eagles and Goodell, because when Lurie was impassionately pleading with the other owners to let him keep his play, he goes, "Why are you penalizing my coach and quarterback for coming up with the equivalent of a middle school boy's wet dream play? They can't stop it. They can't contain it. Why would you stop me from letting my team have its wet dream?" And Goodell told him that was inappropriate, and Lurie told him to go fuck himself.
Wow, really?
Okay. That's how it was surmised. I don't know if the wet dream part was actually, he said he gave an impassioned plea about the power of wet dreams in the owners' meeting.
Underrated part of that story, Jerry Jones broke up the fight. Always the voice of reason. A calm.
Have you seen him in Landman? He gave an impassioned soliloquy about how family's everything.
A lot of impassioned
stuff. Let me ask my two compadres over here on my left, y'all's right, because y'all are normally pretty. So the offense in the tush push, the offense can aid the runner moving forward. If that is, in fact, a legal play, why then can we not change and allow defensive players on a field goal block to use the deep down lineman to propel themselves into the air? If you can use somebody on offense, why then on the defensive side of the ball can you not?
Yeah, ATX Bates asked it as, can the linebackers tush push the D tackles? That's one way to ask it. But Chance, you're talking about the leverage penalty, right?
Correct.
There's a penalty where, yeah, if you try to go up to block it, it's one thing. I would just ask, just make it fair the other way. Allow one defensive player to push another defensive player in response, and we're good. Heck, let a linebacker get on the shoulders of a defensive tackle, like when you're playing war in a pool, and let them just bust into the line that way. Can we do that?
You saw what happened in the NFL playoff game when it became a mockery of what is normally one of the more exciting plays or play sequences in football, 4th and 1 or inside 3 yards from the goal line trying to score. Washington was just having guys jump over the line on purpose, hoping to guess right, like it was a video game, hoping to disrupt the snap as it was happening because they didn't care if a penalty was called because it was just going to move you 3 inches closer. So they were going to keep doing it until the refs had to threaten to give the touchdown to the other team. If the play is so egregiously stupid that they have to start making rules that they're just going to start giving away scores if you keep doing what you can do to stop it, that should tell you how dumb of a play it is.
So y'all take me back a little bit. When Tom Brady was so good at the sneak, which we know he was it illegal to push a player at that point?
Yes.
Okay, so it was illegal. Because to me, the easiest thing to do would be go back to that. Just go back to the.
To me, that's what it should be
proposed.
To the baseline, right?
I think it was 2012 or 2013 or whenever they changed the rule.
Right.
Yes, I'm not trying to outlaw the QB sneak.
Hell
Right.
no.
I'm trying to outlaw the QB sneak where he gets 6 of his buddies to push him from behind like it's a damn blocking sled.
They do an inverted wing T, and you've got a running back and a fullback and a tight end behind you, and all 4 of y'all just make a wedge and go forward. I don't like it, but
and then correct me if I'm wrong.
It's going to happen when somebody jumps over the pile and hurts a quarterback very seriously, which is the next thing that's going to happen because teams aren't going to let you just keep doing it. They tried to go the way where you change the rule to what should happen, and it was only 22-10. So guess what's going to happen now? Some team will take out a quarterback, not on purpose, but to stop the play, you have to go vertical, and you're going to catch somebody in a bad position, and you're going to hurt somebody bad.
Yeah, and it'll go 24-8 on that vote pretty quick. So when the Bush push thing happened with Leinart and Bush, the college rule was you couldn't push someone; they just missed it. Is that
Correct.
true?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Because I was sitting in the parking lot of DKR watching that game on a tailgate TV, and I was arguing. I was like, "They're going to call that back. You can't do that." But
right. And they kept that. And the rule in college is still that way, or is this rule the same in both now? Can you push someone in college?
No, I mean there was plenty of Kelvin Banks grabbed Blue this year and drug him into the end zone, either him or Campbell. I can't remember.
Did you not watch Cam Scatterbo get drug across like 6
No, you're right.
No,
that's a good point. 2 of his offensive linemen pushed him in. You're right. That's a good point. The
NFL is so all football is so geared towards putting up offensive firepower because fans want to see points on the board that they've cut the defense's legs out. So at this point, it wouldn't shock me if in 2 years they went last Boy Scout and allowed the offensive team to carry a pistol so they can pull it out to get the extra yard every once in a while. You get 3 pistols, you get 3 gun pulls.
By the way, kids, if you haven't seen Last Boy Scout, please watch it. Please watch it.
Underrated movie, by the way.
One of the
in his prime.
One of the greatest first scenes of a movie ever, especially a sports movie, and my favorite rain scene of any movie ever. Nobody made it rain better than they did at the beginning of Last Boy Scout. You'd think Noah and an ark is about to show up. That is the most rainiest rain I've ever seen in a movie. That's a whole nother discussion. But Last Boy Scout, go watch it, kids. All right, speaking of things to watch, let's start thanking some more of our great partners here, and we will start with Covert Ford. Watch this.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Covert, and since 1909, the Covert family has been committed to Austin's community. For 116 years, we've grown with Texas, driving progress, building trust, and serving the Austin community. Whether it's the all-new 2025 F-150 or the versatile 2025 Ford Maverick, We're here to help you find the perfect fit, just like we've done for generations. At Covert Ford, it's more than cars. It's about family, service, and a legacy of trust. Visit Covert Ford.
So, Bo, I realized I forgot to ask if you wanted to do the thing at the end. You just want the video, or did you want the thing at the end?
Well, we can tell all our listeners, centrally Texas located, go see our boy Christopher Abbott right there on the showroom floor, Covert on 183. They've been there since 1909. Covert Ford is an established brand. They've been involved in the Austin community. They've been involved with the Texas Longhorn community. And our boy Christopher Abbott is sitting right there, ready to service you before, during, and after the sale. That's what Covert Ford does. They start you off right, and they will always be there. As somebody, I heard Jason's former co-host friend Ed Clements spouting poetic about Covert Ford and how many SUVs he's bought there. I'm willing to wager I've bought more trucks at Covert Ford than Ed Clements has bought SUVs from Covert. That's how long I've been a customer. That's how long I've been working with Chris Abbott. I promise you will not be disappointed in Covert Ford.
Nice. An Ed Clements Covert.
Like, are we trying to start a beef with Ed Clements, Bo? Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
I agree.
This is awesome.
I agree. Former friend Ed Clements. All right.
How can you be your former friend? Ed Clements is an awesome individual.
You just called him my former friend.
Wow.
I said former co-host.
Yeah.
That's Podsy on Podsy crime right there.
I mean, I don't know if you're a big fan of Jeff Ward, but I mean, you and Clements got to be boys.
I like all those guys. Right.
He likes golf, alcohol, fun, and he misspeaks from time to time. How can you not like Ed Clements?
Ed Clements is one of the few people who, if you call my phone, I will pick it up because he doesn't know how to text. If Bo calls me, I'm like, nah, I'm going to text him in a minute. Sorry, this is going to voicemail.
Well, that makes so much more sense now.
Before we leave the tush push conversation, Chance, somebody had a question. You might have the number on you. Does anyone know how many times a tush push type play has been used over the last few seasons? You talked about the percentage. Do you know what those total numbers look like?
I do. The total numbers are over the last 3 years, not two. Over the last 3 years, the Philadelphia Eagles have been successful 106 out of 124 attempts, and the Bills have been successful 60 out of 68 attempts. So between the two, they got 68 and 124 attempts, so roughly 200 attempts just between those two teams.
In 3 years, you said 200 attempts in 3 years.
Yes, sir.
That feels like a lot. I mean, that's a lot of attempts. All right, so yes, the tush push will
it's like 6 a game.
Yeah, you're right. It is. There's some other NFL stuff we can get into that they passed today. Not as big as the tush push for a lot of people, but we'll get into some of that. Also, coming up, if you first off, if you have any rule changes you want to talk about, you can throw that in the chat. Also, we're talking about the most frustrating Longhorn losses tonight in the Mock 5 top 5. For the record, it was not my idea. That was not
Chad,
my idea. Somebody else.
But since it's not your idea, Chad, and our texters could have a little fun with this, because we could also do just the Mock 5 top 5 most frustrating Aggie sports moments of 2024, 2025.
Why
just
would
in the last calendar year?
I don't think there's a need to do that, Chance. I really don't, because we don't. I don't think
we only have an hour.
Could Missouri
and only an hour?
Well, look, here's the sad part is that the sweep.
I don't have enough beer. That's why.
The sweep of Missouri, the Missouri sweep, didn't even make the top 5.
God, come on, my God! First 3 wins of the whole damn year, getting swept.
Hey, but you won today. Only 4 more wins, and you get to go to the playoffs.
There it is. There it is. By the way, ATX Bates earlier said Chad's got a purple Billy Bob, but not an Aggie softball shirt. Not true, ATX Bates. I do have an Aggie softball shirt. I'm not wearing it, but I do have one. It is downstairs, and it is not going to the postseason any further. But it is in the closet. It's there, kind of like the team right now.
By the way,
put away.
I do want to point out, and I know I bash on Chad's Aggies occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
But you realize how big of an upset it is, like in the final in basketball March Madness, if a 16 beats a 1. The Aggies was the equivalent of a 16 beating a 1, since the A&M was the number 1 overall seed, so they were playing seed 64. It wasn't a 1-game blip where somebody just made a bunch of shots. They had to lose twice. They had to get double dipped by Liberty to get knocked out at their own house. They were at home playing Liberty, and they got beat.
God, of all the teams too, the fact that y'all get to do the Liberty thing, like
every time Texas plays A&M in softball in perpetuity, they should have Liberty start off the game.
I would never, ever defend that god-awful Virginia team that yacked it up to UMBC that day, but it is worse than that, Bo. You're right. You just laid out why it's worse than that. First time it's ever happened, number 1 overall seed in softball, can't make it out of the region. So whatever the jokes are, they are warranted. That is history. And the only good news I've got for you, fellas, is I didn't know it happened until Monday because I'd followed a little bit of it. And then I saw the first win, and then I saw that they were playing Liberty, and then things just started happening in the weekend, and I had to deal with some stuff and kids graduating and all that. And then Monday morning, I see Liberty eliminates A&M, and I'm like, wait, what sport are we talking about? Yeah, I had no idea. I'm just glad I didn't have to watch it. Glad I didn't have to watch
that Quidditch team.
Good Lord. All right. Let's are we ready to move on to some Mach 5 top 5? Especially after that. Can we please cleanse and talk about some frustrating Longhorn losses? Is there any way we can do that? Please. Oh, you know what? Hang on one second. Hold on. I just realized this is terrible. This is the insert your Aggie jokes. I just didn't grab we'll get it loaded. I got to load the Mach. I got to see the Mach 5 top 5 thing. Otherwise it's not. There it is. There's Mach 5. Top 5. It's presented by Integro Construction Services. Before we get started, Bo is going to tell you a little bit more about what Integro Construction Services is all about. Bo.
We've told you about the Go Nano technology. We've told you about the fact that they can spray this on your roof and protect your roof for 10 to 15 years extra. That it costs less than the deductible for your insurance to get your roof replaced. But Integro is, yes, they're the licensed Go Nano dealer, but there's so much more. If you have a construction project and you need anything done around your house from, major projects, we're not talking the handyman stuff. We're talking major projects. Integro is your go-to. 755-6569. That's 755-6569. Integro is an established brand contractor in Central Texas. They're reputable. They've been around. They have the right people. They have everything you need to get your house in working order for the summer. Those projects, redoing a deck, something around the pool, boom. And never forget that you can get your roof with Go Nano technology. The licensed distributor in Central Texas is Integro. Scan the QR code or call them 755-6569.
All right. I'm really interested to see where Chance goes with this one. It is the top 5 most frustrating Longhorn losses. Chance, those losses come in all shapes and sizes. Frustration can be a lot of things. Could be a blowout loss. Could be a really disappointing loss, a close loss. Let's see what you do with it. Give us your Mach 5 top 5 here. Frustrating Longhorn losses.
So, first of all, I'm going to say this, and I know that y'all are probably going to argue with some of mine because mine are very, we'll just say localized into a certain time in one's life when it probably hit a little closer to home and it was more personal than.
Like maybe when you were in said locker room, maybe?
Possibly.
Okay. All right.
Is there a game against the Razorbacks?
Oh,
no, that one didn't make it. No.
That one. Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, because when you see the ones that did make it, you'll understand. Because I played well in that one. I wasn't frustrated. I was like, whatever.
All right.
So, number 5 was a game that I didn't get to play in. However, if I had played in this game, I think we would have won because Bob Stoops was daring Mac Brown to take Vince Young out of the game. It was 2004 versus Oklahoma. We lose 12-0. They played with 8 guys in the box the entire game. If they would have just put me in, I guarantee you they didn't work on pass defense all week long because Bob Stoops knew Mac Brown does not have it to do this. Frustrating. I sat on the sideline going, oh, my God.
I can't wait to see what these other 4 were, because Chance, I could argue for you. I could argue that as number 1, but go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, number 1 was really it was more personal than that.
Okay.
Number 4, a game that would have put us in the national championship against a team that we had beat like 56-17 in the regular season, and that was the 2001 Big 12 championship versus Colorado.
Yeah.
That we lost that one 39-37. Major came in. First play after replacing Chris, throws a bomb to BJ Johnson that was beautiful. And I was like, we're going to win this game.
Was that the gun play?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Who had the pit? Was it Giger that had the block that got the penalty on the
Roughing
block?
the punter.
Like,
Roughing the punter.
Yeah.
Geiger.
We
Philip
didn't have to
Geiger.
mention his name, though.
Philip
Yeah.
Geiger.
No,
Yeah,
I'll
he's a
say
nice
Philip
guy.
Geiger. You're still dead to me. All right.
Who was the beneficiary of the dumbest fake punt I've ever seen in my life by Gary Barnett that night? Who picked that up and ran it back? Who got? Wasn't there a fake punt run back?
Babers, wasn't it?
Was it Rod Babers?
It was Rod.
That was the dumbest fake
Rod,
punt
who
I have ever
he
seen.
has the worst hands of any DB ever, had one gift wrapped into his hand like a toilet paper roll.
When Texas played Bama that year, and the year Colt got hurt, Saban ran one that I thought was close, but it wasn't that stupid. Gary Barnett's was really I'll never understand that call. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Chance.
All right, number 3 is just number 3 because it was more personal. I was redshirted, and after this game, it was the first game that I had ever lost on the road. And back then, they had phones on the plane, but you could swipe your card. And I think I ran up like $100 bill, calling my dad, telling him I don't think I can do this because I'm so annoyed at the fact that we lost. And that was because we lost to a guy named Chris Lewis at Stanford. And that was brutal. 27-24. That was just
2000?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tiger Woods game.
Yeah. No, the worst part was I met Tiger before the game, and he told me if we win, we could go play golf. And you know what? 20 years later, I showed up to Augusta for my 4 o'clock tee time with Tiger, and they said, "Do you want to take a picture in front of the gates?" And I said, "Yeah."
That's funny. Oh, that was a rough one. That's such a rough one for Mac, man. That one was so rough. The radio broadcast team got in trouble for interviewing Tiger after the game. Mac was so pissed after that loss.
Oh,
he was ready to yell at everybody.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
Was that the 3-block punt game?
No, that was NC State.
That was NC State.
That was NC State.
In Austin.
Okay, yeah.
At home. That was a DKR.
That was in Austin in '99.
Yeah. Oh God, they were late. They were laying on.
Since we're at
punts all
number
night.
2, let's go back to the very first game I ever watched in my entire life in DKR. Let's go back 2 more years before that dreadful North Carolina State game.
Uh-oh.
It was my very first game as a recruit at the University of Texas. There was a guy named John Makovic roaming the sidelines, and UCLA absolutely annihilated Texas at home, embarrassed them 66-3. I walked out of there thinking, this is the most, just as a Texan, I was like, the Californians just walked in here, whooped our ass.
That was, yeah. Everybody across the state felt that one. That was brutal.
Oh.
So, funny aside to that game, Jason probably remembers this. Chance actually attended the game like in uniform, so he doesn't understand this world of UT football prior to them selling alcoholic beverages. You used to sneak your alcohol in your boot. And it'd be about 105 degrees, and you'd see the entire student section with dudes wearing jeans because the jeans allowed you to put a flask or whatever. The UCLA game, it got so bad that nobody cared that some of my friends, like we drank through all our alcohol in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They went and got full bottles. We were in the student section pouring Jack Daniels straight into the glass, and nobody gave a damn because that place was so cleared out. They didn't care what anybody did. By the end of the fourth quarter, I'm surprised me and the guys that I were with made it out of the stadium because we were hammered.
Well, you also remember the one thing that made that thing worse is how damn hot it was. It was like
I know it was hot. I sweat out all the booze.
It was like 98 with 100% humidity. That's one of the hottest games I've ever been to. My buddy's girlfriend, now his wife, ended up at the medical tent. She was good, but man, I can just see that day. Texas fans, the shock on their face, but then also just that heat pounding down on everybody. That was a brutal day at DKR.
It's one of the few Longhorn games that, as a fan who stayed all the way till the eyes, and there were like 7 people in the stadium, I didn't blame one person for leaving. Like, it was so egregiously bad. Cade McNown lit us up like a Christmas tree. Well, Richard Walton got hurt in the first quarter.
Cade McNown, Bob Toledo as the offensive coordinator. Wasn't that was it Skip Hicks at running back? That day they looked like the fastest football team that has ever existed because Texas made them look that way. Chance, I was thinking if it was a blowout, I was thinking that might be your number one, but you got one spot left. What is it?
I do. And before I go to number one, I want to say one that didn't make the top of the list was the Texas Bowl with the what they call the swoops freight train
18-wheeler package, baby.
Whatever that game was the most embarrassing thing I'd ever seen. But I wasn't that frustrated because I didn't expect much that day.
Fair enough.
You had no expectations.
Yep.
My number one, it's not just the way it went down. It's the fact that the entire bus ride home, I had to sit next to the man that game was more important to than anybody else on this planet. So for 3.5 hours on a bus on I-35 in 35 degrees and rain and dreary and cold, I had to look at Darrell Royal's eyes staring at me with such disdain after the 2063-14 Texas game. It was like I had nothing to say. How do you sit in the seat next to Darrell K. Royal on the way home from a Texas-Oklahoma game when the man, it meant more to him than anybody on this planet? And I just had to look at him like, I don't know what to say. I got nothing, sir. Yeah. Whatever words of wisdom you got, he's like, I got none.
As the arbiter of truth, I don't think I can mess with that one. That's a hell of a list right there. The 63-14, 66-3, the Stanford game in 2000 at number 3, the Big 12 championship game against Colorado, and the OU 12-0 loss. The OU bookends on Chance's Mock 5 Top 5 tonight. Let us know what you think. We're getting some other ideas in on the chat as well. We will throw those in. You know what, Bates? It's a super chat, so I have to read it. $4.99 in honor of Chad's unwavering fandom, an Aggie haiku. All right, let's see if you do it. Softballs falling short. That's good. Jimbo is still collecting. Oh, good. Good to be Hook'em by Jack Handy. It is a good haiku. Well done. Well done. ATX Bates. Thank you so much for that one. Chris Bennett threw in his votes. Tekken 08. Oh, yeah, that one. You didn't mention Crabtree. Big 12 championship game. The 09 championship loss. 01 Red River shootout. 01. Oh, the Superman game with Williams. And then 06 K-State. An interesting one. That's got to be. That's a different kind of frustration, right? Different kind of frustration. You didn't get your doors kicked off, but Colt gets hurt. You lost a game you just didn't think you were going to lose. Yeah. That one that sucks on a different type of level. Tech 08 is a big one. Chris Bennett, thank you for bringing that up, because then the system took over. The Big 12 not really being able to account for what could happen. And then Texas had to watch 2 teams they beat play in the Big 12 title game that year. And you don't have a real playoff system, so that team doesn't get to have their say. Mm-hmm. And it's all because either 2 guys can't tackle Crabtree or 5 guys didn't decide to block all night long. That's frustrating.
I think there were other factors in that game, but we won't.
But it was the worst offensive line performance I've ever seen in my life, Bo. Period.
Wow.
Well,
I've never seen an offensive line that bad in a big moment.
First, not a great defensive line. Let's not forget that.
God, they were horrible.
There were so many things that went wrong because everybody blames that game, or most Longhorn fans I know call that the Gideon game. We all know that it is. That
sure, right?
Let's not forget. And we're a huge fan of him on this show and in life and everything else. He's the spokesmodel for Poncho. Colt McCoy threw 3 picks in the first quarter of that game. Yeah. And 2 of them were like, you almost thought he was throwing it for a bet. Like, they were so awfully bad. Now, he did lead them back, and they had the lead and all those things. there was not a player on the Texas team that I can think of that night that could look in the mirror and say, I did everything I could do to get us to the national championship in that game. Because the entire team looked like it was out in Lubbock getting hammered the night before.
Yeah.
Until it mattered, and then it just had one play go awry.
Hey,
yeah,
bro,
that's fair.
Before we go too much farther, I just want to make sure there's no police outside your window, are there? I'm getting text messages that we keep seeing red and blue lights flash.
Well, there do seem to be lights flashing.
Yeah, Bo's got a TV or some sort of monitor going to.
I was watching the Edmonton Oilers and the Stars on the TV.
It's like a rave going on over there.
The
Bo's
Stars just scored to make it 3-2. Spoiler alert: Stars are down 3-2. But it was that's the red light above the goal.
There it is. Okay, we just want to make sure you're okay. Thank you for checking in on that, Chance.
We want to know what happened during that crawfish boil the other night.
Ask Jason. It seemed pretty tame.
Yeah, everybody was well behaved.
From what Bo remembers.
Great.
Randy's going old school. I don't know how it gets more frustrating than the '84 Cotton Bowl against Georgia. Yeah, Randy,
you're probably right, but we're not old.
That's one.
I might even challenge that. Some of us are kind of old, but
I was 6 years old. It didn't affect my life.
Randy, I'm old enough to remember that game. I get what you're saying because that's even different. That's a different argument than like the people that would tell you that the Colt injury game is frustrating because it is, obviously. But there's Longhorn fans that would tell you they're still certain they would have won the game and all that. But that game in Dallas, that's a different beast, man. The monster that came to get you so late in that game on a freak play, and it's just that's goofy. That was definitely one to mention, definitely a frustrating one. Let's see. Yeah, and then this is and speaking of ATX Bates, surprised the 09 Bama game hasn't popped up. It got mentioned on a couple lists, Bates, but yes, that's one that.
But I don't think that why that game wasn't frustrating to me though. I think like you hit the nail on the head. That's twice I've used that tonight. I apologize. Sometimes when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But
woo!
But
right now, Chance, from the Aggie perspective, everything looks like a hammer. But go ahead.
No, from the Aggie perspective,
everything I see. Holy crap! It's another hammer.
Have you ever seen the movie Casino?
Yes.
Y'all are Joe Pesci and his brother getting beat with baseball bats and thrown into the cornfield.
That's what it feels like, bro. You're right.
But to your point,
that's who the Yankees are.
Yep. They're the fax machine on Office Space. But
yeah, right.
But no, so it wasn't frustrating me for two reasons. Number one, there's still not a doubt in my mind if Colt McCoy plays that game, we win, right? But there was also times when our little backup quarterback that hadn't played all year, we were still in that game. So it was a fun game. It was an exciting game. And at the end of it, I was like, once Colt went down, I didn't expect to win. So I still got entertainment out of the game. And I still in my head feel pretty certain that if Colt plays, so that one doesn't go in the frustration. The frustration ones are when we should have won and we didn't. Like 03 Arkansas, my best statistical game of my career.
Whew.
Like
that was a hell of a game.
And what happens? We can't stop Matt Jones.
No, you could not. Matt Jones
was hungover. God rest his soul. And I think I led the team in rushing with 54 yards that day.
Hey, Chance, you know what they say. Without what that Texas defense allowed him to do, he never ends up in that car with the credit cards and all the coke. And you remember that story? Like, he never gets there if y'all don't let him get there. I want you to know that. You gave him the confidence to become that guy.
I think Chance hit the nail on the head with the frustration part. Like the Texas National Championship game. See, pun intended. I was waiting.
Where the hell are those hammers?
You were frustrated by the result, but your expectations going in weren't like when we faced Alabama in the National Championship game, it wasn't a foregone conclusion that we were just going to go kick their ass. Like even like the Tech game, which is why that's the one, since we're going to have our list, I am getting rid of your 2000 Stanford because one, it wasn't a big enough game for me to get that frustrated by, although I'm sure I was. But the Tech game, there was no doubt in any Longhorn fan's mind after what we'd already done to win the game against Oklahoma, to win against Chase Daniel in Missouri. We were going to go into Lubbock and kick them tortilla throwing kids' butt. Like, the expectation was Texas wins by double digits. Like, amongst Longhorn fans, there was not a fear of going to Lubbock and losing. There's those it's tough to play at night in Lubbock conversations that happened, but no, everyone thought this was a national championship team, kind of a team of destiny after Shipley's kick return and everything that looked right. And then we go out and we're down 21-3 right out of the gate.
So then,
Come
Bo,
all
you're
the way back.
And so you're replacing 2000 Stanford with 08 at Tech.
Yeah, that was the most frustrating loss from a football standpoint. Duration as a Longhorn fan. There's been a couple baseball games that frustrated me more, but that was the most frustrating as a football fan.
I'll tell you.
Okay, so Jason Dick, I want to apologize to you. There's too many hammers coming at me over the last week or so. I clearly did not follow procedure. Bo has kind of called me on it without being rude, which I appreciate. But let's go to you. We'll let Bo make that change. If you want to put the Stanford game back in, go ahead. Do you have a change you want to make?
Well, yeah, speaking of being replaced, I was thought that Bo just skipped. I was like, he just skipped me. I'm the one who gets to go first because I'm just going to put a joke answer in there, you jackass. Right? Really hit the nail on the head with that one. Okay, multiple notes here.
Hammer me, Jason. Hammer me.
The Texas Bowl, the Tyrone Swoops Texas Bowl. I went to that game and bought a ticket outside the stadium beforehand for $4. There's a scalper who was selling tickets. I said, how much? He said, $5. I said, $4. And he's like, okay.
You looked him dead in the face and said,
the conviction with which you had to have said $4 would have been amazing.
Agree 100% about everything we've said about the 08 Tech game. It's funny that Chad first called it the Crabtree game because, yes, we refer to that as the Blake Gideon game, okay? Philip Geiger should send flowers to Blake Gideon every year because I dislike Philip Geiger a little less because of what Blake Gideon did in that game, all right?
Geiger. Yeah. He's not a geology machine.
It's not Geiger?
I believe. Isn't it Geiger? Chance, help me. Philip Geiger, right?
I've always said Geiger.
Look, man,
yeah, I think it's a long E.
You roughed the punter in the Big 12 championship. You do not garner the respect that it required to learn your name.
You made it about
I can't believe that we didn't have the 09 national championship game on there. So it's very frustrating because I was at that game. We lose when Colt McCoy goes out with an injury. As you mentioned, Chad, the fake punt from Alabama at the beginning of the game, early in the game, Saban was panicking, all right? Remember, this is the beginning of the Saban dynasty at Alabama. If Texas wins that game, Nick Saban could be managing an Academy sporting goods store right now, all right? Now I got to watch him roll his eyes at Pat McAfee every Saturday. So that was an excellent candidate as well. But here, I'm eliminating the Stanford game, Bo. You figure it out when we go back to you. I am entering most frustrating Longhorn loss.
Okay.
2003, Gregory Gym, my intramural basketball team. Shorty, it's your birthday. Lost in the championship game because our team was named Go Shorty, it's your birthday. We signed up late and we could only get into the 6 feet and under division. I was a full-on 6'3", and they kicked me out of the game before it could tip off. I did not get to play, and we lost because we tried to cheat. Also, that's a lie. It was not the championship game. It was the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, jeez. That's just gross. You went through all of that to do that.
That's right.
So, Bo, let me save you some breath. So you're going to take that and then just rearrange, and we got the Crabtree.
Well, I mean, we did have in my college heyday the Texas Iron Spikes did lose a nail-biter basketball intramural final to the Society of African American Brotherhood.
Wow.
Which sucked because they kicked our ass we gave them a run, but the Saab whooped our ass. That was more frustrating.
Okay.
If we're going to go intramural, Jason, I'm going to out-intramural you.
All right, so Before we get to Arbiter of Truth, we have some super chats with some ideas. Let's get to those. We'll start with a $10 version from Big Cheddar. What's up, Big Cheddar? Super chat, $10. Here we go. And he may be throwing in some extras. Number 1, 08 at Tech. Yeah, there you go. 2, the 01 Big 12 Championship. 3, the Natty versus Bama. 4, 98 at Tech. Okay, that's all the way back. I get you. 5, 06 at K-State. Also, 23 Oklahoma, 2019 LSU, 06 versus A&M, 03 versus Arkansas. Thanks, fellas.
Hold on. Was 98 Tech? Was that Byron? That wasn't Byron Hanspard and Zebby Lethridge and
no.
Because okay.
Well, that would have been 96.
What was 98? Because there was an 02. Somebody was asking you, Chance, about 02. That was Chris Sims and Nehemiah Glover on the other side, and Sims threw that pick late. Yeah. High scoring game. 98 at Tech. I don't recall. I'd have to go look it up to see what that game was. Cheddar. So let me ask you guys, those 2 games in a row against A&M, 06, 07, does that cause you guys any crazy frustration? The ugly ass drive game in Austin and then the weird one in College Station, does that bother any of you guys to that level?
Not to that level. 06 a lot more than 07. Because 07 kind of the whole season felt flat. Like the entire, as a fan, right, other than Jamal Charles, there was nothing about that team that inspired you to think they were going to be great. Because it was a lot of injuries. Colt hadn't developed yet. But 06, you thought you had something because Texas, obviously with Colt coming out of the net, they struggled early. But by the time before Colt got hurt, recurring theme, by the way.
Yeah.
You started to believe in that team because the rest of the team was so damn good. The offensive line was really strong. The defense was really good. You were like, okay, Jamal Charles was good. You can win with Colt because you weren't thinking natty with no playoff or anything. You were just thinking win the Big 12. Get to the Big 12 title game, beat A&M, and the season's a good year. It's not a national championship, but it's a damn good year. And you kind of had your hopes up. And then you went against A&M. He gets hurt, tries to play through it, and it was just
Yeah, but maybe Chris Bennett nailed it earlier, and the real frustration's the K-State game more than the A&M game.
Yes. But, I mean, you could have watched the team just push it the entire game, and it would have been more exciting on offense than what Texas was doing in those series.
Yeah, God, that was an ugly football game. All right, how about a super chat from ATX Bates? I forgot about this game. It's an interesting one to mention. 499, 15 against Cal. Gerard Hurd, 527, 3 touchdowns, come back in the fourth quarter. We all thought we'd found our quarterback, and the guy misses a PAT. Game, season, decade.
Wow. Versus Jared Goff, right?
That was, I think you're right. I think it was against Jared Goff.
I will tell you, that was, I looked it up while y'all were talking. That 98 Texas Tech was Rob Peters and Donnie Hart, and they had their own, the little Ricky Williams running back.
Oh, the Ricky over Ricky. Yep, that one. Okay. All right. The other Ricky Williams game.
Because Hanspard left in 96.
Hold on.
Yeah,
red lights flash again. Stars. Not 1 goal, not 2 goal, not 3 goal, 4 goals now. It's 4-3 Stars. They've scored 3 goals in the last 5 minutes. To tell those dirty bastards from Canada, hockey's a sport for Texas, not for Canadians.
Come on, Stars. Get it done. Bates,
nobody ever.
Bates, thank you for that one, the Gerard Hurd game. I hadn't thought about that one. So somebody did bring up our man Chris Bennett says, Chance, 02 Tech. That one was frustrating, Chance, but I don't know. It didn't rise to that 08 level, at least as a third-party observer here. 02 Tech, 42-38, I think was the final.
It wasn't frustrating. That was probably the most pissed I've ever been. Like I surpassed frustration because they were ripping the wood out of the south side of the end zone there. They were ripping the wood bleachers out and passing them down, and some jackass ran and got in my face, and I grabbed him by the throat and told him I was going to kill him, and Mad Dog grabbed me and goes, "No, you're not." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And so that was more of a pissed off. I wasn't frustrated at that game. I was just mad because of my ties to Tech and my ties in Lubbock, and there's some other stuff that went on in that game that Mike Leach, who we all know I love Mike Leach, but the way he treated my brother before that game, which later led to some things written on my wristbands in the following year in 2003 when I got my redemption on them. But it was a more personal game, but it wasn't a frustration game. It was a pissed off game.
Yeah. By the way, this is not for Chance because he does have some Texas Tech feelings. For the bottom row of the show tonight, Bo, Jason, show of hands. Anybody miss seeing the Longhorns play Tech every year? Who misses it? Come on. You miss it, don't you? Of course you don't because it's Tech. Why would you miss it? It's horrible. All right. Now, this one did get mentioned earlier, right?
You can take the Agginess out of the Aggie sometimes, but right there, that was the most Aggie-like statement to hate on Tech in the middle of this show.
You got to find those opportunities. The 59 total yards against Arkansas, that's the game y'all are talking about with
the Texas Bowl. And I think they had 40 yards on the final drive, like garbage time drive. Like
was Michael Dixon the punter, not the MVP of that game?
Yeah.
No. That was the Alamo Bowl.
That's a win.
Oh.
That entire season, I think Michael Dixon was the.
And Chance, that was still a Texas Bowl in Houston, I think. That wasn't in San Antonio.
NRG, yeah. Was that NRG?
That was in Houston where he did that.
But it wasn't that game because we won the one that Dixon. Dixon won the game for us.
Yeah, for the record, you cannot be the MVP as the punter if you lose. If your team loses, I don't care what you do. You can't be the MVP. But he was that night. But that is not the Arkansas. It's not that.
All right, Arbiter, help us out. Formulate the list.
Let's see, man. There's a lot of, basically, there's not a whole lot I can do to mess with this thing because the two I would throw in, actually, there's three I would have thrown in, and Chance put two of them in, and Bo put the other one in. So I'll leave 12-0 at number 5 for Chance there. That has to be so frustrating. And then the next three were the ones I was thinking of. The Colorado game, because of what it meant, what it would have meant. The 08 Tech game because of all that frustration. And the first thing I thought of when y'all sent that the word frustrated, I thought of 66-3 instantly. Yeah. It's just it's one of the if I bled burnt orange and I was with people that did, some of my really good, I had friends and all the group that was there, I can feel their energy. Everybody that was in that group I was with, I was there. Everybody was Longhorn through and through except me. And I can still feel their pain. That's the one I thought of. And I'm not taking away Chance Mock and Darrell Royal on a bus at number 1 because that's a hell of a memory right there. 63-14. There are still Longhorns going to therapy over that game. There were awful ones that came later. Awful ones. But there's something about that day. Chance brought up the weather. That didn't help. There was just too many ingredients that came together to cause all of it. And it led to some other stuff, but that was like chapter 1 of what the hell. And Mac Brown ended up with a couple of those, but that was the first one. So I'll leave that at number 1. And I'd never heard Chance tell that story because Chance, I don't know what I would have said to DKR either. That's messed up, dude. That is messed up.
And that wasn't an honor to sit next to him. It was hey, freshman, you get to have this one. I was like,
yeah, exactly. And real quick, so that's my arbiter of truth decision. Chris Bennett throws this one in late. I'll let you guys answer this one because I don't think this one falls into the discussion.
No,
that's not what that game is, right?
The season was already dog shit, and when
it got us out of one really bad era to enter a mediocre era to get to the Sark era, so that's okay. It was a springboard.
Isn't that was just the vet telling you that Old Yeller had rabies?
Yeah,
right.
I will say
you knew he was sick. You knew he was not Old Yeller anymore.
I would say that Sark had the game that Sark lost to Kansas here was more embarrassing than that one.
Yes.
It's just it was his first year and he got a pass.
Oh,
yeah.
They had a backup tight end doing national Subway commercials based off a catch he made to beat Texas.
That was brutal. That was pretty bad.
It was like the original NIL guy. Like he was part of the case was this dude making money for catching that ball against Texas.
Speaking of making money, let's mention another one of our great partners around here. Chance Mock, tell them about Arch Public and maybe making some money that way.
Man, I don't know if you guys saw, but today Bitcoin bounced back above 110,000. And Arch Public, they've got the new Bitcoin algorithm, XRP as well, if you're into that. But the new Bitcoin algorithm, if you bought in the last month using the algorithm, you would have bought at 77,000, 74,000, then 76,000. It's now at 110. So the algorithm does for you. People that are trying to have a little Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, it's a great technology. So is XRP, as well as the gap strategy and the swing strategy that the people at Arch Public do. So they've got different bots, different algorithms for every person, depending on what your needs are, what you want to do. Again, we're not financial advisors, but if you want to make some money while you're sleeping or not paying attention to it, Arch Public and their guys are good to do it. Scan that QR code, give them a call, talk to Tillman and those guys, see what's right for you. If it's right for you, hop on board. If it's not, move on down the road. But like my uncle used to always say, always take the call. Arch Public is the way to go.
Money while I'm sleeping. Sounds like a good idea. All right. Jason Dick, any Dick moves of the week or things you want to discuss here on the show before we head towards the door?
Look, according to the Outsiders group chat today, we were going to have a top 5 about rule changes or something to that effect. And I put a lot of work in coming up with all kinds of rule changes.
Jason, because that's what I thought we were doing. And then later I saw this other idea from Bo, and it came in my phone late, and things got confusing.
Hey, hold on, Jason.
Dick move, Bo. Dick move.
Put a pin in it. Next week's show topic, we'll already say it right now, how Jason transforms sports. The Dick move of the week in next week is your rule changes.
You want me to save this all the way till next week?
Give us a little sneak peek. Give us one.
Give us one, he says. This is a tough one.
If you could rub the sports.
Chances cats need to take showers. Kids got their last day of school.
You could get if the genie grants
out too late.
All right.
If the genie grants you one wish, what's the
Chad's
one?
Got graduation tomorrow.
This is far from the best one. If you're telling me we're gonna gangbang it next week. Baseball, once per game, you can send up a pinch hitter who's already in your lineup. You can take once per game. You can just decide, okay, now Aaron Judge is up to bat. He just batted 3 plays ago. No,
they've
once
already
per game,
floated that one.
Once per game, you're allowed to send up any play. That's look. Baseball, this sucks because you don't give the chance to throw the ball to Michael Jordan with 8 seconds left in the game. All right, I'm giving you the opportunity that once per game you can send up any batter on your roster that you want. All right, and don't act like this is challenging the integrity of the game. They're already putting runners on second in extra innings. That's a beer league softball rule. All right, you might as well have a keg at second base.
Yeah.
This one involves strategy because you can only do it once, and you have to figure out: am I going? I got the bases loaded in the top of the fourth, but do I save my guy? This is
Jason,
a fun way
can I
to
do it right after Judge strikes out? Can I just have him be the next batter?
Yes. You can. Aaron Judge can be on third base, okay, and you can bring him.
So
back.
now we're gonna have ghost runners too.
That's right, buddy.
All right. Okay. Look, I thought he was crazy till he suggested ghost runners. Now I'm good. Now let's go. We're
putting a pin in this because we're coming back to this next week, and I will tell you, I have one, Jason, in the football world that will involve. Y'all are watching hockey right now. That'll involve a power play on the football world.
Yeah. I want to let everybody know.
I'm still stuck on why don't you just put a sumo wrestler in the hockey goal and say score on this.
I just want to let everybody know that all throughout the day we had the rule changes things set up and we had the deal ready to go and the graphic was ready to go. And then I noticed that like before we started that conversation, Bo threw another idea out that nobody responded to. And then we get ready to start the show 1 minute before the show started and Bo went, so it's the most frustrating Texas losses, right? And Chance nodded and went,
Hold
yep.
on. Why you're dropping me straight into the text? Chance got what I said. The fact that you didn't read the text and Jason never checks the text.
Chance apparently got it. And then,
that was at 7:55 this morning.
And I started throwing in all these other ideas, and I thought we had it figured out. So
Hold on. Yeah, you just didn't like my ideas, so
No.
you threw out your own. But then when there was no poster, I was like, are we still going with my idea?
Yeah, I
And
never
then
saw it.
nothing.
I never saw it, or it came through late or whatever. So Jason and I saw one thing, Chance and Bo saw another thing, and that's what created tonight's show. So there you have it.
Well,
So
we're putting
maybe-
a pin in it because I want to explore Jason's golden batter, which has been floated as a rule change in the MLB. It's been floated out there, Jason.
I was thrilled. Rule changes is one of my favorite things to talk about in sports, and now we don't get to do it. So maybe next week.
Well, no, we're going to do a whole show.
I thought we were going to do a whole show tonight, but no. Apparently
There's
not.
nothing happening next week, so we got to
talk about wet dreams and tush pushes.
Apparently
and
not. We had other stuff to talk about. One more thing to talk about before we get out of here, Jason Dick, and that is the place where they don't have ghost runners. They have real golfers, and that is the golf club at Star Ranch. You ever had a ghost birdie out there?
Oh, I marked down 18 ghost bird. No. 17 ghost birdies, Chad, because I ghost eagle number 18 at Star Ranch. It is my favorite place to play golf in all of Central Texas. I got a fun golf rule change for you guys that we could do as well. If you want to check it out, scan the QR code right there to get more details on a super duper fun golf course. We are joking, of course, about ghost birdies, but birdie is available at Star Ranch. Eagle is available for you great golfers out there. But if you're not the greatest golfer like myself, it's not so very punitive when you hit a bad shot. You're going to have a good time playing at the golf club at Star Ranch, in part because it's always in great shape. The fairways are always lush green. The greens rolling true. You can make putts at the golf club at Star Ranch. Great place to host a tournament as well. If you're looking to do a charity fundraiser type thing, they can hook up all of that stuff for you. Just scan the QR code right there or call them 252-GOLF to set up a tee time at the golf club at Star Ranch.
Jason, I got a golf rule change for you and me in case you haven't done it yet. Never write down the number 9 or anything higher than that. 8 is the highest. Once you get to a snowman, just keep walking. That's how I play golf. That's how I do it. That's my rule change.
There,
all right, we will get to rule changes next week on the show. I'm sorry, I just laugh when somebody refers to Jason as the power bottom, like watching an old Japanese movie. Mouth moves, but words are delayed. I'm seeing him fine. It's just fine. I'm seeing it totally fine. All right. Let's see. What else do we have to do? I think we're just about done. I think we may just about be done with this show tonight.
Yeah. Guys, I think we really hit the nail on this upper shoulder tonight. All right.
Oh my God.
Next week, Sledgehammer. We're gonna Paul Gabriel is coming out of death to sing Sledgehammer. No, Peter Gabriel is going to sling Sledgehammer.
Did you say
tomorrow.
Paul Gabriel? Is that what you just did? My God. Next week, Dylan Gabriel and Genesis will be.
I had a teacher, my PE teacher. His name was Mr. Gilo in 5th grade. And he used to come out and he'd be like, all right, we got to run 5 laps, guys. And we'd be like, you mean 4.5?
What?
Yeah.
Hey, so he could do like that game.
He really had his
better
finger. His finger was cut off as a kid. So he had enough.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Like, so he'd play that game with kids where he moved his finger and he'd really do it.
Wow. I don't know how to follow that. It is The Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. Here are those beautiful fishing shirts, the Magic Ruckus, the Super Chugger. These are the normal button fishing shirts, by the way. If you want the Western style with that mother of pearl snap, they got that going on. Like, for instance, the Billy Bob, it's right here, ready to go. Ready to go for another graduation in beautiful purple. They got all kinds of great colors. Get your school colors today with your Poncho shirts.
I get it. The Billy Bob. Fort Worth, TCU. There's a nightclub, Billy Bob's. But when you say Billy Bob, I just think of Varsity Blues. I give it a 10.
The shirt.
And every time you hold it up and you say Billy Bob, I'm like, that ain't going to fit. All right. That is way too small.
The shirt's
for
a
Billy
10,
Bob.
Jason. It's a 10. I promise.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, funny story on our way out, Jason. You've met my stepdad because you were actually in the wedding when my sister got married.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
My stepdad ended up with the Billy Bob truck from a repo deal for a landscaping thing. So for like 6 months, the Billy Bob truck sat in the driveway at my parents' house.
Wow.
Now it then got sold for like scrap metal, but yes, because they shot that movie. When they shot the movie here, the
Up in Georgetown,
mechanic
right?
shop right there at 620,
Yeah.
and right there by the hill, it sat there forever. And then he owed my stepdad some cash.
Wasn't
Wasn't some of the football stuff up at is it Pflugerville Conley?
No, it's at Georgetown.
Georgetown, my bad. I knew it was on 35
Yeah.
somewhere. Georgetown, my bad.
And it just happened to be a time Lance, Mox, Chance. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, you know it. And what's his name? What's the reporter that did the interview? What's my man's name?
Oh,
That's with
Olin Buchanan.
Thank you.
Olin
That's with
Buchanan?
Texags now. Yeah, Olin Buchanan did the interview with Mox in the parking lot. Fantastic acting from
By
Olin.
the way, he's not a regular chatter, but Texas boy just gave us like the ultimate compliment.
Really? Hang on.
Because I'm driving through Kansas. Don't go. He's having fun. We're keeping his eyes open on his long
To
trip
be fair,
through
Bo, I
Kansas.
don't know if that's a compliment to us or just an insult to Kansas. I think that's really just about the state of Kansas more than it is. I've driven. Hey,
Okay.
Texas boy, I helped somebody move one time, and I drove the moving truck. When you drive a moving truck through Kansas, it will make you reassess whether or not you should be helping someone move. Like you just ask yourself, do I really like them enough to be helping them move?
You are too good of a friend, Chad Hastings.
God, it is you talk about a flat ass state. My Lord, it's either dead flat or it is corn forever. One of the two when you're in Kansas. So please be careful. Please be careful. Thank you. Wait a minute. Hold on. ATX Bates has another dead casting job. The actor that played Billy Bob passed away?
They scanned his cat, and he is in fact dead.
Oh my God.
Yes. Although now they're arguing whether it's Ed Clements that's dead or Billy Bob, and it's Billy
Ed
Bob.
Clements not dead. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it started when one of them said Ed Clements should play Billy Bob, and then the other
Billy
one
Bob
said
should play Ed.
Billy Bob's not dead.
But the actor.
Stars just scored again. Good Lord. Let's go watch hockey.
All right, let's go watch some hockey. Thank y'all for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications. Until next Wednesday at 8:30, where we may or may not talk about rule changes, or we might change it up on the fly.
Hey,
who knows? Until
in the Outsider Bible, I'm writing it down in Sharpie. Next week.
And if you haven't ordered your Outsider Bible, those are $89.99. Send your check or money order to Bo.
Right now, it's the Arch Public tailgate, so we're not doing that at the moment. So we'll get rid of that.
Yes,
and
send that money to Bo Edge. Until next week, we are the Outsiders, and we are legitimately worth a shit. Take care. See ya.